From the Daily Mail, Donald Trump campaign has raised over $200 million in just 3 days since the guilty felony verdict, son Eric Trump claims. Eric Trump says $70 million has flown into campaign coffers from small donors. The Trump heir also noted how gangster Al Capone has less felonies than his dad. Okay. So I think it's important to point out. Fewer, that's right. Grammatical error there. We don't tolerate that. But the $100 million is coming from it's Miriam Adelson, Israeli-American Miriam Adelson, the wife of the late casino magnate Sheldon Adelson, reportedly pledging $100 million to the Trump campaign in the days since his criminal conviction, according to The Forward. Now, this is the way that will break down is likely going to super PACs. We saw another guy, what was his name? Sean McGuire, was that his name? Some Silicon Valley dude saying $300K was going towards Trump. They're likely putting that into pro-Trump political action committees because the maximum right now per election is $3,300. So you can't give more than that. But if you give to like a private group that supports Trump, they can spend whatever they want.
So those limits are really meaningful, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's silly. But, they say that the campaign can't coordinate with the super PACs. So here's how they do it. Before the group forms a super PAC.
So here's how they coordinate.
Exactly. So John Doe goes to insert politician, Trump, Clinton, whoever, Biden, and says, what would you like to see if you could see commercials? And they go, oh, I'd love to see ads. Here's a list of everything we want done. They go, wow, that's really interesting. Thanks for your opinion. Then they leave. Then they form a super PAC. Then they take in a bunch of money from their buddies and say, we're not coordinating. We formed the super PAC. Since we formed the super PAC, we haven't had a single meeting with him. And then they do exactly what the campaign wants. And then it's also funny, too, because Biden can come out and he could say, I really wish those guys would run commercials of me championing my new border policy. And then they will. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous.
The point calling it ridiculous is about as accurate as you can get. The idea that you need to tell Republicans generally what Republicans want. It's like once you know how to be a Catholic, you can just go ahead and do the Catholic things and you're doing Catholic stuff. Like once you know generally what the logic that goes into conservative values is, the people that the people that came up with the philosophies, and you understand it. You don't have to be dictated specifically what to do. The differences will be nuanced and something that most Republicans aren't going to fight you on.
So let's cut out the $100 million. And
the same goes for Democrats too.
Right. Let's cut out the $100 million from Miriam Adelson because that's a pledge of an elite. I do think it matters, but we'll get to that in a second. $100 million in donations, $70 million from small-time donors. This is record. This is record-breaking fundraising for the Trump campaign. Is it fair to say that the guilty verdict has backfired as we all expected? I think it is, but it doesn't mean the Democrats aren't getting something out of it.
That's correct. If they thought that it would result in an immediate evaporation of support and Republicans heading for the exits, that was stupid. And we knew that was stupid already 6 months ago, although this plan was put into place well before that. But you're right. Yes, they may not have counted on a tidal wave of additional donations, but they still have the raw material with which to do some nasty things, and they're already trying to do them. They're not being particularly effective, but remember, it's only June. They haven't even started. This is like step 14 of 37 that are going to be rolled out between now and Election Day.
Yeah, I think they're going to try and put him in jail. I was saying that last week I figured house arrest, and then it was Brandon Strzok who made the apt point that why they keep going to the most extreme degree. They're not stopping. And then I thought about it. And I think he's right because I remember when he's not going to get impeached. They're not going to impeach him. They wouldn't go that far. Then they did. And then they're not going to criminally charge him. They wouldn't go that far. They wouldn't raid his house. It's never going to happen. He's not going to be found guilty. He'll never be found guilty. No, he's not going to go to jail. Everyone keeps saying the same thing. And that's a snowball rolling down the hill. They're not slowing down.
So here we have, nonetheless, like the premise of your question was, all right, could they have anticipated that there would be such a huge influx of money And yes, there's at least one poll out there that says that some people have, this is frankly inconceivable to me, that there would be someone who liked Donald Trump before the jury returned. And when the jury came back, they said, "Oh, what was I thinking?" That to me, who's that person? What is the nature of that brain damage? What part of the brain is actually damaged? But
there could be people who fake it.
Is there a point? Well, they generally say there's a lot of that with polling.
Yeah.
Okay, but what is the point at which you, as a Democrat dirty trickster, that's what these all are. These are all dirty tricks. Say, are we the baddies here, or are we the dummies here? Is there a point at which they say
But that would require a level of self-reflection and honesty? And I don't.
No.
that was a softball for you?
Well, I disagree, though. I think, the issue I take with if you look at a lot of, I'll call it older comic books, movies. It was one-dimensional villains, and then we started getting this shift into characters with depth. Most notably, Mr. Freeze. The Batman animated series won an Emmy because the villain's motivation was that his wife was dying of an incurable disease, and so he wasn't trying to take over the world to be evil. He was trying to save his wife, but he didn't care who he hurt. The Democrats know what they're doing, and they think they're allowed to do it because there is no truth but power. It is not comic book villainy.
True.
The Democrats don't ever. There will never come a point where they look in the mirror and go, "I'm the bad guy."
No.
They think I'm justified in doing what I do because what I want is all that matters.
Oh, but so when I said are we the baddies, I did not in any way mean to suggest that there was any ethical reflection going on. That would be what I meant was, are we the dummies? Is there a point at which they recognize we're getting the opposite result?
I say nay, good sir.
I think you're right.
It is like the Goblin King. Are you familiar with the Goblin King? I'm going to do all the nerd references possible.
No, you stumped me with the Goblin King.
To become Goblin King, you must kill the King of the Goblins. And so it's a never-ending cycle of
Sounds like the
chaos.
Roman Empire to me.
Of that, yeah, absolutely. The idea is that there's never any stability because the only thing that's ever happening is one person is plotting to take the space of the other person. I see the Democrats as a cacophony of corruption. It is chaos. It is a destructive force. It's effectively a fire in our government. It's a political, social fire consuming and destroying and spreading.
Moreover, there isn't a central figure, a hero, who can say, even if that person were Hillary Clinton, hey, I don't want to be known for this. I don't want this to be how I'm remembered. There is no person. They have a blow-up doll for a president.
Okay. That's putting it nicely. Blow-up dolls are firm and can rest.
I wouldn't know. But what they have demonstrated, and that's why the Fetterman thing really is driving them up the wall, because he was supposed to be another golem. They're not. It's kind of like modern Disney. You don't produce movie stars. You produce characters.
Yeah.
And whoever plays that character just has to fit in the costume.
Right.
So there's no there there. In contradistinction to what's happened to the Republican Party, where it has become entirely about one man, one person, and his personality. It's an interesting way of looking at it, Tim. But you're right. There is no limiting. Certainly, principles are off the table.
I don't think that there is a cabal that's got a plan for what's ahead. I think it is varied interests. Just it's effectively fire.
Keep it rolling. Just keep it rolling.
Right. Don't stop. Is fire powerful? Yes. Does it spread? Yes. Does it destroy? Does it take over? Yes. All of these things. Could a large enough fire be unstoppable? Absolutely. But it's got no plan. So what I mean to say is, it's a little bit more complicated than just say fire, for my analogy. But when I look at why they're going after Trump, it's because they're like, destroy him. And then step 2 is question mark, and step 3 is profit. That's how I view how the Democrats operate. They are getting something out of it. They're all screaming convicted felon. But that's like plan 1, we call Trump a convicted felon. Step 2, question mark. Step 3, profit. They will keep going. The next step is going to be, well, then if that didn't work, put him in prison. And they're going to keep doing it without, I can simplify it for you. They're first order thinkers.
He thinks that the complicated version somehow eluded me. Okay, it's okay.
Well, I just mean for the average person.
It's a rhetorical. Oh, fair enough. Okay.
The Democrats and the woke and the left are first order thinkers. It's all about short term gains. They can't contemplate the long term losses. So in their mind, I know if we convict Trump, then he'll be a felon, and that's all they think.
And that's why they go into alliances with forces and ideologies that are inherently opposed to what they. Why does a guy like Senator Scumbag from New York, Schumer, why would he agree to empower all these rank anti-Semites? I mean, doesn't he even care a little bit? Doesn't he even care a tiny little bit? Or people who stand for everything that he has built his career on the opposite of. Answer, he gets to stay in charge. Mm-hmm. Nominally in charge.
Yeah.
That is all it's about.
I mean, I got to be honest. I look at the leadership, and they're probably just thinking, you've got Nancy Pelosi. Well, if I lose my position, I can't trade stocks anymore. And and that's it. I don't think she cares about the government. I think she's thinking about, look, I need this money for this reason. I have plans for this. I'm here for my plans for this.
And that's why
I would say
so many Republicans are doing this the exact same.
Absolutely.
I was going to say, Nancy Pelosi is such an interesting example in that case because she's lost her position in House leadership. She stepped down from it. She still hasn't retired. She's still in Congress, and yet she's crazy wealthy, right? And her husband's attacker is going away for 30 years. And, why not just stop? Why not walk away? Except there is an inherent need to hold on to power for as long as possible. And that's the same party that says, oh, well, we really should have young people stepping up and, doing whatever. Except they have some of the oldest members of both chambers clinging to the chairs that they're in, saying, we won't leave, you need us. Thanks for watching this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to check out the live show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. on this channel. Subscribe and we'll see you all there.